Hello and welcome to another edition of all of a sudden I'm like, new name, old name, no name,
New name.
the only name, uh group or God's insight for the soul. We'll see. New name.
New name.
I'm like, okay, God's insight for the soul. We've been playing, like, guys, this is what's so cool, I think, about just showing up for life, because who cares if this is polished? If you are somebody who needs this recording to be polished and have us know our name, then you're probably not the people we want to talk to. We want to talk to people who are ready to just be raw and real and step out in faith and not fucking know a thing, but trust that the universe is behind us and God adores us and everything is exactly the way it's supposed to be. So welcome to our party. Welcome to our hot mess, train wreck, perfectly in order experience. So I'm Lori, and we started doing this because Bridgit and I were just discussing, like, what brings our soul to life. And we talked about, man, if we could just talk about who God is and how he loves us to as many people as possible all day long, that would be amazing. And I'm like, let's just do that. So we started doing what we called at the moment group insight for the soul, because there's something beautiful when a group comes together. Because whatever I give Shelly today, whatever Bridgit gives Jessica today, whatever we give each other today is for you. God wastes nothing. So if you are here and you are listening, every word that comes out of our mouth is for you. And all you have to do is sit back and receive. And what's so beautiful about the way that spiritual mathematics works is anything that we do is multiplied in the spirit, right? So if I give something to Bridgit, even, and you receive it, it actually uh uh I want to say the E word, and expedite keeps coming out, but it's not expedite. Exponential.
Yeah.
It creates exponential giving and receiving. And so that's why we're doing what we're doing. We just want to show up and love people and be loved and share what we have found to be gifts. And that's kind of where we're at. So Bridgit.
Yes. I love it. So yes, I am Bridgit. I've always heard God. I've always had a relationship with God, and this is simply a way for me to um share with all of you. So thank you so much for being here, and let's just get started.
Let's get started. Who's first, Bridgit?
I think Shelly is first today.
Okay, Shelbell.
Hi. So, Lori, I just want to tell you thank you so much for modeling for me and slash us, but I'm only speaking for myself right now. The showing up in the messy and just finding it, because I'll tell you why. Because this morning I'm like, okay, before the call I'm gonna unload the dishes and I want my bed made, and so I had my little checklist of the things that I wanted to, like, get done before coming to this call, and my bed's unmade and the dishwasher's half unloaded and I have cats all over and all this stuff, and I'm just like, okay, that didn't happen and it's fine. I showed up. I'm not going to not get on the call, but I was just like, thank you for reminding me of just like finding my yummy and just doing it regardless of the surrounding circumstances. Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, would you like to ask a question? Would you like something we can tap into? Would you like a card, or would you like us to just see what comes up?
I want to see what comes up.
Mm. Uh, You are so adored.
Mm.
You you sit in this space where you cognitively know your power, you cognitively know you're adored.
Thank you.
And the invitation is to allow that to be the fullness in your body. Now, guys, the fullness is in this moment. You will never ever never ever ever never ever ever never 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 ever 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 never ever 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 have the fullness in your body as long as you have a body, but you can have the fullness in your body in this moment. Because guys, if we could have the fullness in this moment,
Wouldn't be here.
or if we could have the fullness in our body, we'd be done.
We aren't here. Yeah.
The reason you came to the planet, all of us, and especially because I'm talking to Shelly right now, but all of us, the reason we came to the planet is the unfolding of more knowing of our that we are adored. I was trying to think, what is the word of, but that we are adored. It is a forever unfolding of how loved we are, how capable we are, how powerful we are. And right now in this moment, what is being offered to you, Shelly, is a new level of embodiment of how absolutely adored you are. It's like this, yes, I love you. Yes, of course. Yes, you're capable. Yes, you're powerful. But oh, when I look at you, and when I say when I look at you, now this is like the energy of the universe, this God source thing that just looks down at you and absolutely just goes, oh, she's perfect right where she is in this moment. Right? It's yes, it's a forever unfolding in our human, yet we are complete in this moment. And the paradox of those two things is the hardest and the most orgasmic place to be. This moment is all that I have to be ever focused on, receiving the adoration and love in this moment, knowing the next moment I might not experience it. Oh, good news. I'll open up my heart to even more in the next moment. In this moment, however, receive, drink in, lick it up, eat it, swallow it. Let your body physically experience the adoration of the thing that created you in all of your perfection.
That's so good, Shelley. As soon as you said, I just want to see what comes up. This opening, this like, you are so open. You live your life very open. It's such a beautiful picture. And then it's remembering who you are. Sit in that openness and receive and remember you are like every second of every day when as Lori was talking about embodying in this moment, it is a second to second. You live your life so open that sometimes your cognitive thoughts, something will, and then it's like, oh, just pause and remember who you are. And then a thought will come up, oh, just pause and remember who you are. Like every second of every day, remembering who you are. You are loved. You are love. That's what I see in you as soon as you started talking, was is just because you live so open. You are such a beautiful example of love itself.
Mm. Just marinating. I'm marinating.
Marinate, girl, marinate. Would you like us to pause while you marinate because you want to say something, or do you want to marinate and we move on?
I would just like to marinate for a moment in silence altogether,
Mm-hmm.
please. Mm. I so appreciate that, supporting me in the practicing and getting into my goddess body
Mm-hmm.
so much. I feel like um I'm experiencing new sensations in my body that I've never a heightened of things that of ones I have experienced before. And then like I'm definitely feeling more like when I take a deep breath, I've noticed that I've always stopped at my stomach, like filling up my Zoe, love bug. Wait a second. Um but I'm feeling a more like I'm able to breathe more into my womb. Hold please.
Let's get, oh, I
Sorry,
was going to say, I don't know how long she's going to be gone. Okay, go.
dog out because she's starting to bark. But yeah, I'm feeling and I don't know if it's an ability or just in my womb. I'm feeling movement in my womb where I've never felt that before.
That's awesome.
Breathing life into all the parts of us that are waking up.
Yeah.
Love it.
Thank you so much.
Yes, Queen. All right, sweet Jessica.
Hello.
Hello. Do you want to pull a card? Do you have a situation? Do you have a question? Tell us, how do we serve you today?
Oh gosh. I have to pick one, right? All the things. I actually was pondering about this before, when I got the email about some of the instructions, to really think about like, how can I be most beneficial of my time here? And I think one of the things that I've been wrestling sort of with recently, that just feels like I don't have some clear messaging around, is, for context, I heard this lady talking on a podcast about this perspective, like, of how heaven views you and what your role is. And so she said this idea of, for example, if God calls me an author and I never author a book for whatever reason, I will show up in heaven as an author who didn't fulfill their purpose, but it doesn't take away from the identity that I was an author. And I think when I heard that, what I have been feeling is I don't know that I can identify one thing as a mission of who I am. Like I always, when I lean into that, pray about it, ask God about it, it comes up, the word identity keeps coming up. Like that is the mission that I feel is put in front of me. But like what, I guess my question is more around like, what does the execution of that look like in this realm moving forward in the future? Or what group is that called to be intentional towards? I believe it is some sort of healing path, but there's this like, I want to be intentional to be in alignment with, I guess, what is on my scroll for this time on the in the earth. And so what does it look like to walk that out? The other context she gave was kind of like, if you're an apple tree that doesn't produce apples and the apple tree dies, it doesn't go by anything else. It's just an apple tree that didn't produce fruit. So I want this context to be like, who am I? What fruit is being called forth from my life and my mandate here on the earth?
Bridget, I feel like you're supposed to start. So I can wait for you if you're not ready.
Well, what kept coming up, Jessica, is the difference between role and identity. And it's so funny, Lori, because I'm like, I feel like this is what I have learned so well from Lori. So I'm like, Lori, I think you're supposed to say all of the words.
Isn't that interesting, Bridget? And this is what I love about us showing up, guys, because this isn't just for you guys. This is for us as well. So
Yeah. But that difference between role and identity, and when you were talking about if 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 you're supposed to be an author, and what kept coming up was there's so many, you don't have to write a book to be an author. There's so many other ways. We though, as a human, we think, oh, for me to be an author, it has to be XYZ, it has to lay out like this. But what if being an author is simply a creator of what it is you're doing? So what if your job is in computer analytics and you author the way for a business to use what you do in this new way? You're not an author like, oh, I published a book, but you're still an author of that gift you have. So
Right. So if I could say this for clarity, like the author example was hers,
yeah.
not mine. So I don't necessarily feel the word author applies to me, but I think that's where I'm struggling is this, I don't necessarily couldn't tap into. And when I asked, what is the word, like author, teacher, speaker, like identify a role of not so much in career and execution, but more of like mandate of role. What is that one for me? Like what arena should I intentionally look forward and moving forward in, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's more of kind of where I was like, where I've just felt this sort of disconnect around a particular thing, or a particular like idea of a thing. The how of it being, I get that it could look a variety of different ways, but in terms of like role is where I was asking.
I think, Jessica, if you tap into a deeper level of what Bridget just said, because the example of author and how Bridget was laying that out is true for anything. And if you are specifically looking for what is that role for you, I I think coming back to what Bridget was talking about and the difference between identity and let me back up just a little bit. One of the things that we talk a lot about in our container is states of consciousness. Okay. And we have a human consciousness and we have a spirit consciousness. And there are laws that govern both consciousnesses. And just like, and again, coming back to just like we were just talking about with Shelley, as we evolve through these states of consciousness. And the first thing that came up when you were referring to this woman, and now there's no wrongness, okay? There's just not this yet, right? So what she was saying, I think, is a motivation or a motivator for a state of consciousness that, Jessica, you are no longer in. And I think that that's where some of the not clarity is coming from, and why when Bridget was describing what she was describing, it still wasn't tapping in, because you're trying to understand what she's saying, when what she was saying was for a different state of consciousness and not yours. You've evolved to a point where you recognize that your only identity is love. Period, exclamation point. You came to this planet. If you never do anything, you know that you are love. This woman is still thinking that love is represented in what we do, not who we be. Now, not wrong. Please hear my heart. Not wrong. Just simply not as evolved as you are. And so for you, it's reverse, right? So when we go, like, what do I be in order to exercise my identity? And what I feel like God is calling for you, when he just keeps saying identity, identity, just focus on your identity. Just be love, and then you'll speak, and then you'll teach, and then and I know you said not author, but you author blogs, you author, going back to what Bridget was saying. So it's once we hit a state of consciousness where we're out of the realm of the reality of human consciousness and we evolve into the reality of spiritual consciousness, then it doesn't really matter what we do. The fruit that we produce is love, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, faithfulness, and self-control. It's not a book. It's not because I could create a book and be a total douchebag, or I could be love, exercise, and produce all of this fruit and look back and go, oh, I authored, oh, I taught, oh, I healed, because you're just so consumed with being the identity of love. The fruit is just popping. There's fruit everywhere. And you're like, oh my gosh. Right. And so I feel like, let whoever that person was, love her, amazing. But for you, it's not where you are. And so let some of that go and come back to, oh, I'm love and I can't not produce fruit. A good tree cannot produce bad fruit, and a bad tree cannot produce good fruit. And when we know we're love, all we produce is love. And the physical elements that are manifest because we were just being love, all just gravy. And now no more pressure to be anything or do anything or create anything or anything. You just are, going back to what Bridget was saying, you just are creating, and it's going to look a myriad of different ways.
That's good. That makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah, queen.
I will say also, Jessica, I feel like and this is Lori and I, we talk about how we are 100% spirit and 100% physical. In our physical humanness part of us, we do want just like one answer. Like, and I felt at the beginning, because I've been here too, where I'm like, I'm going through something. I feel like I'm shifting, I'm growing, and yet I just want that one answer. I want that one answer. I want that one answer so that I can cling to it. And sometimes life doesn't just give that one answer. And so you're right where you are meant to be, the questioning, the trying to figure it out. I know how frustrating that can be and how like, and just know, like, yeah, in that identity of love, like you are love, you are right where you're supposed to be. You're right. Nothing has gone wrong. Questioning what this means and who that, and listening to all of the things, you are right where you're supposed to be. Nothing has gone wrong.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, Queen.
Yeah.
Anything else, Bridget? Anything else you want to say?
I did. So I thought it was, we're talking about thoughts and stuff. It has come up a couple of times, and I pulled this card right before we got started. It says, "Every thought I think is creating my future. The universe totally supports every thought I choose to think and I believe. I have unlimited choices about what I think. I choose balance, harmony, and peace, and I express it in my life."
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you mind taking a picture of that and sending it?
For sure. I will totally do that. Yeah.
You.
Yeah.
One of the things I love this because one of the things, and I can't remember, the name of the book might just simply be "What If," but I don't remember. But if you're watching this and you want me to get the information, comment and I'll go find the information. But the book basically says, what if you changed every statement in your head to a question, starting with "what if?" Right. And so sometimes we go, I don't know the answer. What if you did know the answer? Right? What if I did know the answer? When we feel stuck, it's because we are, and going back to what Bridget was saying, in the human, there is conclusion. There is like I'm gonna wear my glasses. It's a conclusion, right? But then I just took my glasses off. So the flow of life is not a conclusion, right? So if we feel stuck, it's an indicator that our spirit is moving on to the next thing, but our human is looking for an answer instead of recognizing that we're in a flow, right? And so that what is that thought? Does that thought make you feel shitty? Does that thought make you feel stuck? Does that thought make you feel overwhelmed? Well, then stop and rephrase that to "what if?" Right? I don't know the answer. What if I did know the answer? Right? And all of a sudden there is a pop of that eternal, ever flowing unfolding of our capacity. So, yeah. And curiosity is the energy of that childlike faith, because we don't know, guys. If I know anything, it's that I don't know anything.
Can I share an example of how that has been a game changer for me?
Yeah, Queen.
So I really appreciate you bringing this up because it's been a hot minute since I used that. And my terminology is "what if, just what if," or "maybe, just maybe." Those two. And obviously, like, I'm just so grateful it's being brought back into my life because, like what you said, like it literally takes me from this to this. And one time I was driving and a car cut me off, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, do I not exist? Do you not see me? Like, you know, and I caught myself, and I'm like, wait a minute, Shell Bell. What if they really didn't see you? Or what if they're like, whatever, maybe they're in a hurry. And I was, you know, that overpass on Curtis that is right before the hospital. So it was the light right there, and they literally cut me off so fast and stuff like that. And they ended up turning into the hospital. And I was like, oh my God, what if they're taking like their sick child, or like I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. But what it did is it just alchemized that, like, you know, and to be like, ooh, wow, I really just don't know. And
Preach.
it had nothing to do with me.
Preach. Yeah.
We
don't know.
It's when I remember to use that, like, it really is a game changer.
Yeah. Love it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Well, as always, thank you again for being here. If you are watching this and you're like, yes, I'm receiving so much, and I would love to actually have these women tap into what is specifically for me, we would love to invite you to join us. In the description, we will put our calendar link. Please jump on our calendar, jump in the schedule, and we would love to serve you individually as well. If you're like, okay, like I want some juju, but I do not want to be like in front of everybody, we would love to honor and bless you in a private space. So you can reach out to us about that as well. Anything else, Bridget?
Nope. Thank you. That was awesome. Thank you, ladies.
Thanks, ladies.
Thank you.
Love you.